Today we will be talking
Just a
about
minute.
performance appraisal.
Now you can.
Okay, ma'am.
Welcome, my dear learners. I am Dr. Rasmeet Kour, Assistant Professor, Department of Management from the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. And in this video, today we will be talking about performance appraisal, a topic from the subject Human Resource Management. Let's have a quick overview on the topics which we are going to cover today. We will be covering about what is meaning of performance appraisal, what is need and importance of performance appraisal systems in the organization. Also, further we will be discussing about what is the process of performance appraisal in an organization. Moving on, we will be discussing what are the rules which are required for a good performance appraisal system in an organization. And lastly, we will be discussing what are the different methods of performance appraisal which is used in an organization. Let's understand what is the meaning of this term performance appraisal. Performance appraisal can be described as a systematic evaluation of performances of several employees so that they can understand all the abilities of a person and which is required for their development and growth. It basically includes measuring the pay of the employees and comparing it with the plans and targets which are set in the organization. Let's understand this concept further. Performance appraisal can be said that it is done on a continuous basis in the organization. It is basically required to determine the contribution which is actually done by the employees to attain the given objectives. Performance appraisal also relates to the quality of work performance and work relationship. It is expressed as personal opinions, merit ratings, employees' evaluations, and also in the form of progress reports by the performance appraisers. Now let's discuss what is the need and importance of doing performance appraisal in an organization. When we talk about the need of conducting performance appraisal in the organization, it is done basically to ascertain whether the behavior is integrated with the role requirement of an employee in the organization. It is considered to measure the success and failure of an employee in the organization. Also, it serves as a basis for promotion, transfers, and training of an employee. The data which is used basically from the performance appraisal is used for selection, for training and development for the employees in the organization. Also, it helps to ascertain the potential which the good performance have so that the special projects can be assigned to them. It also pinpoints the poor performance and helps the management to take corrective actions. It reduces grievances of employee in the organization if done in a very proper manner without biasness. Also, it improves the job performance of an employee. And finally, it indicates to the employee about his or her accomplishments. Let us understand the process of performance appraisal in an organization. Basically, in any organization, when you do appraisals, there are certain steps which are followed. Beginning with the first one is to set the performance standards. This is also called as establishing the performance standards. Like the other departmental goals and objectives, the performance standards should also be SMART. That is, they should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be achievable, they should be relevant, and also they should be time bound. These standards, when they are set, they should be communicated to the employees who are working in the organization. So the second step or the second step which comes in the process of performance appraisal is to communicate these standards to the employees. It is a very, very important step because the employees should know that what is that which management is expecting from them. Once it is communicated, then comes the third step, which is measuring these standards. Measuring standard means the actual performance of the employee in the organization. Once this step is also done, then comes the comparing the standards with the actual performance or the actual standards. So in this step, basically, you measure the actual standards and compare it with the standards which are set by the organization. Then comes the next step, which talks about discussing the results. Discussing the result is a step where, after the standards are compared with the actual performance, it is discussed with the employees. After this comes the step which talks about taking corrective actions or taking certain steps after the standards are being compared. So if there are proper trainings to be arranged for the poor performers, then on the basis of the results which are achieved, the management plans for the training program. On the contrary, if the standards are accomplished by the employees and they have to be rewarded for their performance, that also is done when the corrective actions or when the performances are compared with the standard. So this is the process of the performance appraisal system which is followed in the organization. It should be done without doing any biasness. So the rater has to be very cautious when he or she follows this system in the organization. Let's understand what are the important rules which are required for a good performance appraisal system in an organization. For any performance appraisal to be effective, it is very important that it should encompass all the levels and category of employees. The evaluators, the one who are involved in doing the performance appraisal, proper training should be given to them. Also, the evaluators should know the purpose and value of that particular plan for which the appraisals are done. The factors and the terms of evaluation should be clearly understood to the evaluators. They should measure the performances against the organization's need, and personal ratings or personal biasness has to be avoided. All these appraisals should be clearly linked to the promotion, training, and transfer policies of the organization. Now let's understand or move on to what are the different methods which are used for doing the performance appraisal. Moving on to the methods of performance appraisal, broadly we can classify them as the traditional method and the modern method. Now let's move on to the methods of performance appraisal. Broadly, the methods of performance appraisal can be classified as the traditional method and the modern methods. Let's have a quick look on what are the different traditional and the modern methods. Moving on to the traditional methods, there are various traditional methods which are used for appraising the performance appraisals of employee in the organization. In this video, we will be covering the traditional methods like the ranking method, paired comparison method, grading method, forced distribution method, and the confidential reports. Similarly, there are various modern methods of appraisals which are used to appraise the performances of employees. But in this video, we will be talking about few of the modern methods like management by objective, which is also known as MBO, behaviorally anchored rating scales, which is known as BARS method, assessment centers, 360-degree performance appraisal method, and human resource accounting, that is HRA. Let's start with the traditional methods of performance appraisal. To begin with, the first one, that is the ranking method. Ranking method is said to be the oldest and the simplest formal systematic method of appraising the employees in the organization. Through this method, the appraisal of an employee is compared with all the others for the purpose of placing the order of worth of that particular employee in the organization. In this, the employees are ranked either from highest to lowest or best to worst as per their performances in the organization. The second method is paired comparison. Again, this is one of the traditional methods of appraising the employees. In this method, each employee is compared with the other employee on one-to-one basis only, not as what was done in the prior method, that is the ranking method. In this, the rater is provided with a bunch of slips, each coining pair of the names, and the rater puts a tick mark against the employee whom he feels has a better performance than the other. Let's move on to the third method of performance appraisal, that is grading method. In this method, basically there are certain categories of work which are established in advance and are clearly defined. They can be like outstanding, satisfactory, and unsatisfactory performance of employees in the organization. Then these employees are allocated on the basis of those grades as per their performance which they have done in the organization for a period of time. In the next method, that is the forced distribution method, we can say that this method assumes that the employee's performance level conforms to a normal statistical distribution, that is 10, 20, 40, coming down to again 20, 10, and then so on. So this is basically used for rating large number of employees' job performance and also their promotional ability. Basically, through this method, the rater tries to reduce the rater's biasness or eliminate the biasness of the rater in the organization. Moving on to the fifth type of traditional method is the confidential reports. They are basically the traditional way of appraising the employees, and it is basically used in the government department. You will find through this method, the evaluation is made by the immediate boss or supervisor for getting effect to promotion and the transfers of employees. Usually, a very structured format is devised to collect the information about that particular employee's strength, weakness, intelligence, attitude, character, attendance, discipline, and other traits, so on. So let us move on to a modern method of performance appraisal, that is management by objective, which is also known as MBO. This concept was given by Peter Drucker. Through this method, basically the goals are identified and are jointly defined by the superiors and the subordinate managers of an organization, where they define each individual's major area of responsibility in terms of the results which is expected out of them. And then these are used to measure the performance of the employees and to assess their contribution of each of its members. Second modern method of performance appraisal, which is commonly used nowadays, is called as behaviorally anchored rating scales or bars method. Basically, the bars are designed to bring the benefits of both the qualitative and the quantitative data of the employee's appraisal process. Bars basically compare an individual's performance against specific examples of behavior that are anchored to numerical rating. Let's have a quick look on how does this particular method is implemented in the organization. As you can see, this is an example of the bars method which is used for appraising the employee. Here, as you can see, the different types of factors are like quantity of work, quality of work, and judgment. Few of these factors are actually rated on different scales. Here it is a 3-point scale which is used to measure these factors. Like quantity of work, volume can be low and erratic, satisfactory and steady volume, or it can be volume above expectation. Similarly, when we talk about quality of work, the quality of work of an employee could be the results are always accurate and a model work is done by him or her, or the results are accurate and thorough, or I can say that the results are generally inaccurate and are not thorough. Third factor which is used is the judgment of an employee. So we can say that judgment skill can be measured as a very systematic, analytical, and good with the complex problems an employee has those judgment skills, or the employee has certain practical judgment skills to solve problems but has difficulty with assessing different value of these factors. And the third scale which can be used for judgment is that it does not always show good judgment, problem analysis, and these skills are not sufficiently adequate. So let us move on to the third modern method of performance appraisal, that is assessment centers. Assessment center is basically a central location where the managers may come together to participate in job related exercises which is evaluated by the trained observers. Here, the principal idea is basically to evaluate the managers over a period of time by observing and then later evaluating their behavior. This is the assessment center method, which is commonly nowadays used in many of the organizations to appraise the performance of the managers. Moving on to the fourth modern method of performance appraisal is 360-degree performance appraisal method. Under this method, basically an employee is appraised by his supervisor, subordinates, peers, customers with whom he interacts in the course of his job performance. All these appraisers provide information or feedback on the employee by completing a survey questionnaire which is designed for basically this purpose by the management. Last modern method which we are going to cover in this video is human resource accounting method, which is also known as HRA. In human resource accounting method, basically you attach money value to the value of firm's internal human resources and it is external goodwill. Under this method, the performance is judged in terms of cost and contributions of employees. So basically, the difference between the cost and the contribution will reflect the performance of an employee in the organization. So with these methods of performance appraisal, we come to end of this video. I hope this video will help you understand the concept of performance appraisal in human resource management. Thank you for watching this video.
Okay, so I hope this video which I have shared with you, which was also a request from few of your side, that you wanted to see a video related to the concepts what we are doing in the class, which can be referred even for the coming like revisions if you want to do related to a particular topic. I have also shared the link of this particular video in the chat box. Now let us come to like any questions or concerns if you have related to the concept what we have done right now, that is performance appraisal. How was the
Yes, ma'am.
video?
Can I
Was
ask?
it helpful? Yes. Yes.
Can I ask? So my question is that last you talked about HRE, which has a relation between cost and performance. So how cost
Okay, I,
has
I understood.
connection
I got your
with
question.
performance?
Yeah, I got your question. Uh,
Mhm.
I'll just elaborate that thing. See, when we talk about the HRA method of appraising the employees, that is human resource accounting, as we do accounting, for the other things in the organization, same manner, when we talk about accounting of human resources, there are different areas where the management spend money on human resources. Like if I talk about, giving them training, if I talk about sending them to like different, as I said in the two classes back also, path is planned for them. So if supposingly management is investing some money on them while giving them training or while giving them the permission to attend certain seminars or conferences or workshops, what is the revenue what they are generating out of that particular HR? So they compare the cost and revenue. In this way, if supposingly the money which is spent on HR, that particular employee, is much more than the return what they are getting from that particular employee is less, so in that way it is concluded that the cost is more and the revenue from that particular HR is less. It could also be, I could say, the benefit, I could say the advantage, I could say the in terms of what is the contribution of the human resource, that particular human resource on whom you are spending so much of money. Diksha Suneja, I request you to please switch off your camera. It is disturbing the class. So that is what is the HRA
Okay.
method is. How you compare the cost and the returns what you are getting from the human resource. That particular method is called as the HRA method.
Okay, and this is only for the HR department.
No, it is not for the HR department. It is for all the employees who are working in the organization, because we don't spend money only on the HR people, those who are there, but we spend
Hmm.
money also for the other employees, for each and every employee. So they actually compare. I put it in a very simple language that supposingly आपने एक organization में एक employee पे training पे कुछ money spend किया, उस पे क्या रिटर्न मिला,
Right.
क्या उस एम्प्लॉय ने उस चीज को सीखा, क्या उससे कॉस्ट में या वो एफिशिएंट हुआ, या उससे एक्सीडेंट्स जो हो रहे थे वो कम हुए. That is what is a comparison is done.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, I have a question from Shruti which says, can you please briefly explain the 360 degree? Yes, I will explain that, Shruti. Nowadays, we have not only 360-degree performance appraisal, but while you'll be going through various notes, or rather referring e-notes also from different books which are available of HR, you will find that we have nowadays even 720-degree performance appraisal method. 360 का मतलब होता है it is taking the feedback on that particular employee from all the stakeholders. जैसे 360 डिग्री एक पूरा complete circle होता है. So in that way, with whomsoever that particular employee is interacting, whether it is the subordinate, whether वो उसके peers है, whether वो उसकी superior है, whether वो किसी committee में जहाँ काम करता है, that particular group of people, the kind of vendors with whom he or she is interacting, it could also be the customers with whom he or she is interacting. So it is not now that only one person is giving the feedback for that particular person, but it is 360-degree performance appraisal. So each and every person who know him or her in the organization is going to give you a feedback about that particular person. Now the benefit of this particular method is that we do not have biasness of one single rater. Why do I say that? Because when I say that it is only one person who is appraising you, it could be that he or she might either overrate you or underrate you. तो ये चांसेस जो है वो 360 डिग्री परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल में बहुत कम हो जाते हैं. एंड इट इज वेयर वी से one person can be biased to you, two person can be biased to you, but it cannot be that all the stakeholders, those who are giving a feedback on about that particular individual, are going to be biased. So we say it is more, I would say, a kind of an appropriate feedback which is received for that particular employee. That is what is a 360-degree performance appraisal is. Lakshya have asked me that kindly comment on the role of HR to check if there is biasness in the performance appraisal. See, being very honest on this area, as I have just showed you that particular video also, परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल्स जो होते हैं एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में बहुत मेजरली डिपेंड करता है रेटर पे, the one who is doing the appraisal of that particular individual. That is why I just said that if it is 360-degree performance appraisal, it reduces the chances of biasness. We cannot pinpoint, that XYZ has rated me or he has shown any kind of Atul, I request you to please mute yourself. Any questions, concerns, if you have, I request you to please write that in the chat box, and I am going to read it from there, and I'll then talk about it. Okay, so I was just saying that there are chances when we have biasness, and it is something which is unavoidable also. आप बहुत मुश्किल होता है आप ये बोलना कि एक परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल जो है वो completely unbiased है. Management, what they can do is that they can go forward with as one of the modern methods, जैसे मैंने कहा, to go for 360-degree performance appraisal method, जहाँ पे एक single individual के feedback पे you are not concluding the performance of the employee, but on the contrary, it is that we will be we take the feedback from all the other stakeholders, or rather each and every stakeholder. So it becomes really very very effective, and आप compare कर सकते हो. I take a small example, let's say of a teaching, let's say in a education sector, and I talk about any particular faculty, okay, in the, let's say in a school or in a college. It is not only, it should not be, rather I would say, it should not be only the students who should rate a particular teacher, but it is also, when I say it is 360, it is that that single faculty is rated by the head of the department. He or she is rated by the committee in which he or she has worked. He or she is also rated by the principal or the director of that particular organization, along with the students to whom he or she has taught. Not even only in the one class where she has taken the classes or he has taken the classes, but with all the other students. Like there are different classes, different subjects what he or she has taken, तो आपको सबकी voices आ रही है in feedback. It is not that one group or one person has given the feedback of that particular faculty. That is how we say that by practicing this we can reduce the biasness. Related to your assignments, the concerns, what are there? I can see Smriti ma'am, she's answering all those concerns, because that is something which is taken care at her level. So you can, as said earlier also, you can just drop the mail to her. She has shared her email ID also with you, and your concerns are going to be taken care there. As we have talked about performance appraisal, I would also like to show you one video on training. In this, it is basically a video on training methods. I have said that earlier in the class that in the functions of human resource management, that was the last topic what we did. What are the different types of training, why trainings are effective. I have my videos related to the concept of training and development, methods of training and development, on the job training, off the job training. So I'll share those videos with you. Currently I'm just starting with a video related to training methods. Okay.
Ma'am, I have an questions. Means related to the study, means how can I study, means how can I get in touch with the teachers like you, means not why is there any other WhatsApp means to get in touch with, because I'm doing work from home and it's yeah, the timing is now is good, but some means कभी कभार तो time miss हो सकता है, तो as such कोई
Aishwarya,
issue तो नहीं होगा?
all these classes are recorded, and as ma'am has already informed you, Smriti ma'am, they are going to be uploaded on the YouTube.
Hmm.
So these are all kind of counseling sessions which IGNO organizes. So it is not basically a kind of a lecture method which is going on. Initially,
Okay.
as this subject was very new, human resource
Hmm.
management, so to brief what HR is all about, first two classes I have kept it more in the lecture form. So I have tried that you understand the concept of human resource management and the very important part of HR, that is functions of human resource management. So
Hmm.
those things are already recorded. You don't have to worry. It is going to be uploaded on the YouTube.
ओके यूट्यूब, बट मेरे कहने का मतलब ये भी है कि जैसे कि हम स्टूडेंट्स हैं, तो मतलब थोड़ा सा स्टडी को स्टडी की तरह करके कि हाँ स्टूडेंट से पूछ सके, टीचर से पूछ सके, थोड़ा बहुत कोऑर्डिनेशन हो सके, जिससे थोड़ी बहुत कंफ्यूजन हो तो वो थोड़ा बहुत हमारा हो सके, तो उससे रिलेटेड भी बोल रही थी मैं।
आपका जवाब बात करना चाहूंगी। आशीष लिखा हुआ शायद, पर आपका नाम जान सकती हूँ? मैं डॉक्टर स्मृति गार्ग बोल रही हूँ।
जी मैम, मेरा नाम ऐश्वर्या बेदी है।
अच्छा, ओके ऐश्वर्या, एक्चुअली ये जो अभी एकेडमिक काउंसलिंग सेशंस चल रहे हैं, इसमें एक्सपेक्ट किया जाता है कि लर्नर्स अपना स्टडी मटेरियल जो है उससे गो थ्रू करे पहले, और अगर उन्हें कुछ डाउट्स हैं, है ना, तो वो डिस्कशन हम लोग यहाँ कर सकते हैं। बट ऐसा ही जैसे हम लोग का ट्रेडिशनल जिस तरह का क्लासरूम होता है, टीचर्स होते हैं, वैसे नहीं होता है कि आप रेगुलर जैसे मोड की तरह। यहाँ पे सेल्फ लर्निंग पे आपको ज्यादा ध्यान देना है। दूसरा, ये जो क्लासेस हम लोग अभी कर रहे हैं एकेडमिक काउंसलिंग की, ये मतलब कंपल्सरी नहीं होती है अटेंड करना, but you can attend and you can participate, है ना? तो
सॉरी
आप इस
आपकी
चीज
आवाज
को
कट रही है।
थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट तरीके से होता है, उनका आप एक बार एमबीए का आप जो प्रोस्पेक्टस है वो भी पढ़िएगा, और जो आपका
Um,
स्टडी मटेरियल
आवाज कट रही
इनफैक्ट
है
है
निक्की।
उसमें भी ये सारी चीजें डिटेल में दी हुई है कि आपको किस किस तरह से पढ़ना है।
Hello, ma'am. I have a question regarding the submissions of the assignment. I missed the date of the submission of the assignment. Can we submit it now or online or offline in any
You try to
means?
submit it online on LMS portal. Are you able to submit through LMS?
Ma'am, it wasn't aware. I tried it, but I
You should be
wasn't able
aware,
to do
Pankaj,
so.
it's already time is going very fast. So go through all these things, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
हेलो मैम, असाइनमेंट के लिए जो वो हम अपलोड करते हैं ना, वो लिंक चली गई है मतलब 15 तारीख के बाद। तो वो कैसे अब बाकी के सबमिट करवाने? 3 करवाए हुए हैं, बाकी के रह गए।
अरुणा, मैं आज ऑफिस में नहीं थी, डेट्स का मुझे भी अपडेट नहीं है, तबीयत की वजह से मैं चेक भी नहीं कर पाई हूँ, बट देयर वुड बी सम वे आउट, डोंट वरी फॉर दैट।
और मैडम एक
मैडम
मैडम एक मिनट मैडम, वो जो एग्जाम देते हैं उसमें
टू अपलोड द असाइनमेंट इन एलएमएस पोर्टल।
बट एलएमएस पोर्टल पे जो लिंक दी गई थी ना वो क्लोज हो चुकी है, तो अपलोड कहाँ पे करना है वो जानना था बस।
ठीक है, आप ईमेल में मुझे ये चीज लिख के भेज दीजिए ताकि मैं उसको एज इट इज फॉरवर्ड करूँ। एक दो कुछ लर्नर्स ने भेजा भी है।
मैडम
इन बिटवीन आप वेबसाइट पे भी चेक कर लीजिए, डेट वगैरह कुछ इंक्रीज आगे बढ़ी है क्या।
हाँ,
मैडम
और मैडम ये जो एग्जाम की
वैसे मैं
मैडम एग्जाम की जो
ये जो हम लोग बातें कर रहे हैं ये बहुत ज्यादा इसको इम्पोर्टेंस ना देते हुए अभी आप अगर एकेडमिक काउंसलिंग का ज्यादा कर लेंगे तो फायदा रहेगा, और ये सब जो इश्यूज हैं हम लोग ईमेल पे रिजॉल्व कर लेंगे, एंड डोंट वरी अबाउट।
लेकिन मैडम खाली ये एग्जाम के रिलेटेड ही है, अगर आप जवाब दे पाए तो मुझे इतना ही जानना था कि एग्जाम के लिए।
मैंने ईमेल देखा है, अगर मैंने कई बार ईमेल जवाब नहीं भी दिया दैट डजंट मीन कि उसके ऊपर कोई काम नहीं हो रहा है ना।
नहीं ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए, मैं मतलब एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपरेशन करना चाहती हूँ। क्या वो पीडीएफ जो आपने डिजिटल भेजे वो इनफ है, वही टॉपिक में से आएगा मतलब उसके रिगार्डिंग, या हमें आउटसाइड भी कोई
ऑनलाइन में एवरीथिंग इज ऑनलाइन, यू विल नॉट गेट एनी हार्ड कॉपी मटेरियल।
नहीं वो नहीं, लेकिन टॉपिक जो अंदर दिए गए उसके ऊपर से ही एग्जाम होगी ना, मतलब कोई आउट ऑफ पीडीएफ तो कोई सब्जेक्ट नहीं रहेगा ना, मतलब कोई टॉपिक नहीं रहेगा ना, उतने ही टॉपिक कवर करने होंगे ना।
स्टडी मटेरियल सेल्फ लर्निंग मटेरियल उसी में से आएगा, है ना, वही सिलेबस है आपको।
हाँ मतलब और कोई बुक प्रीफर ना करे तो चलेगा ना।
इट्स अप टू यू, अगर आप अपनी और रेफर करना चाहते हैं, जितना रेफर करते हैं उतना अच्छा होता है, उसमें कोई बुराई नहीं है।
ओके थैंक यू
मैम। यहाँ इसमें क्या कोई व्हाट्सएप का कोई ग्रुप होता है क्या, जो मतलब जिससे हम सारे एक साथ कनेक्टेड रह सकते हैं जो क्लासेस ले रहे हैं MBOL के?
अभी तो इस तरह का कोई ग्रुप क्रिएट नहीं किया है, वो काउंसलर्स ही करते हैं अगर वो चाहते हैं तो।
काउंसलर्स जैसे चारू गुप्ता मैम?
तो अभी मैं आपसे चाहूंगी कि अभी आप काउंसलिंग अटेंड कीजिए, ये इश्यूज हम अलग से कर लेंगे, अदर अननेसेसरी आपका जो टाइम है वो वेस्ट होगा इसमें।
ओके मैम, बस ये छोटी छोटी चीजें करनी थी बस, थैंक यू।
नहीं तो हम एक बार मीटिंग और अलग से कर लेंगे इनफॉर्मल, जैसे अभी मैं थोड़ा ज्वाइन करती हूँ, मेरी थोड़ी तबीयत ठीक नहीं है, एक मीटिंग हम कर लेंगे एक और अलग से जिसमें हम सिर्फ ग्रीवेंसेस पे बात कर लेंगे, ठीक है?
हाँ ठीक।
अभी आपके अभी एक दो काउंसलिंग हो जाने दीजिए, इस वीक की, फिर हम एक मीटिंग कर लेंगे, ठीक है?
ओके थैंक यू मैम। ओके
So over to you, Rasmeet.
Yes, ma'am. I know all these concerns. This is something which would be bothering many of you, because anything related to your submissions, assignments, exam dates, you can mail to Smriti ma'am. She'll be answering you all these like your queries, whatever queries you have. As I just said, कि हमने अभी एक वीडियो परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल पे देखी थी. What I have planned for today is that for your block 3, we have performance management, performance appraisal as one of the very important areas. And the other thing, what is there is your training and development. I have done with you, as I said in the last lecture of mine, under the functions of human resource management, the compensation function and the training and development. Nikki, I request you to please mute yourself. Nikki Jadia, it is creating disturbance in the class. Thank you so much. So,
Ma'am, I have a question.
Anjali, please write that in the chat box. And I request all the others also, rather than you talking or rather asking me questions, please write that in the chat box. I am going to read that and I'll be answering your concerns. Now, let us just quickly have.
I want to add, Rasmeet ji, if you permit.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, just want all the learners not to share any link. Keep your mics muted and keep your videos off if possible. And if you're looking decent and everything can be, I mean, it's in good, decent mode, then it's okay. You can keep your video on. But generally, I suggest to keep your videos off and muted. Whenever you are asked to speak, then you can unmute your mic. And you should write your questions in chat box only. Okay? This otherwise this will I mean it's इससे बहुत सारा डिस्टरबेंस पैदा हो रहा है. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Nikki ma'am, please switch off your video. Okay. So this is also something, what we are experiencing through the online classes. As ma'am has rightly said, any concerns, any queries, whatever you have, please write that in the chat box related to the subject and I'll be answering that. Now I'm showing you a video related to the training methods, and as we have seen for performance appraisal, just let's go through. It's a very short video of mine, and if we have any concerns, again you can write that in the chat box and we will discuss. So just give me a minute, I can share that video with you. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen with you, the entire screen, and I hope then you'll be able to see that video.
Welcome, my dear learners. I'm Dr. Rasmeet Kour.
Sir, is it okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Assistant Professor, Department of Management from the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. In the previous module of training from the subject Human Resource Management, we have talked about what is the meaning of training, need, importance of training. And in this module, we will be talking about the different methods of training. In this video, we will be specifically talking about on-the-job training methods, and in the next video, we will be discussing about what are the different off-the-job training methods. So let's begin with on-the-job training methods. So dear learners, before we move on to what are the different methods of training, let us understand what does this word training method refers to. Training method basically refers to a way or technique which is used for improving the knowledge and skill of an employee so that he can do the work which is assigned to him or her in a perfect manner. Now, how do you decide the training method? So the organization has to consider few of the important factors such as what is the nature of the job, what is size of the organization, what is the size of workers in the organization, types of work or types of workers, and as per that, the training method is decided. Now let us move on to what is the classification of training methods. The training methods can be broadly classified as on-the-job training method and off-the-job training methods. Let us begin with the first one, that is the on-the-job training methods. On-the-job training methods, which we also call as the job instruction training, that is JIT. These are those methods which are used in the training in which the trainee is placed on a specific job and he or she is taught the skills and knowledge which are necessary for him to perform. The advantages of having on the job training method in the organization are that this method is very, very flexible. This is less expensive as compared to the other, that is off the job training method. When we talk about on the job training method, the trainee is highly motivated and encouraged to learn because he is learning along with the work which he is performing in the organization. And the last would be that these arrangements for training this particular method, it is very, very convenient and not too many arrangements are required. Now, to list a few of the on-the-job training methods, the first one is apprenticeship method or apprenticeship program. Second is a job instruction training, which is also known as JIT. The third one is planned progression. This is also one of the very common on-the-job training methods which is used in the organization. Fourth could be the job rotation. Banks are the best example of job rotation when we talk about on-the-job training methods. And the last one is coaching. So we will be doing one by one each of them. Let's begin with the first one, that is the apprenticeship programs. Talking about these apprenticeship programs, this is basically given to those people who enter the skill trades or basically those who perform the skill trades, such as when I take example of the plumbers, the electricians, or maybe the iron workers. They are basically required these kind of or are given these kind of training programs. When you talk about the period of apprenticeship training programs which is given to the employee, usually it is from the period of 2 to maximum of 5 years of period. In this period, basically the trainee is paid less than the qualified worker in the organization, and these programs are basically to put the trainee under the guidance of a mentor worker. Now let us discuss about the second kind of on-the-job training program, which is job instruction training, which is commonly known as JIT. What is this JIT if I talk about? So it consists of basically 4 steps. The first one being that you prepare the trainees by telling them about the job and the overcoming their uncertainties, their problems. So you give them instructions for how they have to perform a particular work. In this, you basically present the instructions, give them essential information in a very clear and a prescribed manner. In JITs, you basically have the trainees to try out the job either in the form of demonstrations, or you demonstrate their understanding and make them more clear with that particular training which has to be given to them. In JIT, the employee or the worker is placed into the job on their own with a designated resource person who is basically ready to provide the required assistance. Now let's move on to the third type of on-the-job training program, which is known as planned progressions. These planned progression is basically a technique which is used to give employees a clear idea of their path of development, and they know that where they stand and where they are going. So basically it draws a kind of a career path for them, that what they need to do in that particular period of time which is expected from them in the organization. So they must know the requirement for advancement and also the means of achieving it. How are they going to achieve that particular thing in that particular period of time? So further, when we talk about these planned progressions, basically this method is utilized at all different ways so that the employees can be trained and developed, and they can know what are the series of job which is required for them to gain knowledge and skill which will be required at a higher level. Talking about the fourth type of on-the-job training method is job rotation. What is the meaning of this word job rotation, if I say? So it basically means a kind of a periodical movement, or the movement of people from one job to the another. As I just said, that banks are the best example when you talk about job rotation, which is practiced very regularly. The purpose of job rotation is basically to broaden the knowledge of the managers and the potential managers, that means the upcoming managers, those who are there. It increases their experiences, give them the training, and make them learn different functions of the job by rotating them at different positions. This particular training method involves movement of trainee, and that movement of trainee is basically from one job to the other, so that they can gain knowledge and expertise from different job assignments. This method helps the trainee to understand the problems which are faced by the other employees in the organization. Now, if I talk about that, what are those jobs or what are those things on which they rotate or they may rotate through? So it can be non-supervisory work, it can be the observation assignments, it can be various managerial training positions, and also at times the middle level assistant positions on which these workers are rotated on a regular basis. Now, these movements which are done, they basically prevents stagnation in the organization. The other reasons of job rotation is basically that they include that the compensation for a labor shortage, safety, and it also prevents fatigue in the organization. Now, moving on to the last method of on the job training, that is coaching. When we talk about these trainings which are given, it is a never ending process. So, when you talk about coaching, I can say that trainee is basically placed under a particular supervisor who functions as a coach in a training which is given or assigned to him, and he tries to give feedback to the trainee that about his or her performance, how is he or she working, what are those areas of improvement where he needs certain things to be improved, or what are those areas where he is not working up to the mark. These sometimes the trainee may get an opportunity to also express his ideas where he is finding difficult, what are those things which he feels that he's not able to perform in a proper manner. A very good example of on the job training, if I say, is a kind of the athletic coaching which is given to the athletes. When you talk about these kind of coachings which are given, it is to be to make them effective. It is the responsibility of every line manager that they need to see that the coach which is assigned to the employee is of that caliber, that they are in a position to guide the employees or guide the subordinates. This must be done in a climate where we say that confidence and trust between the superior and trainee is very, very important when you talk about a coaching method to be followed or to be used in the organization. So, patience and wisdom are required of the supervisors, who must be able to actually delegate the work or authority and give proper recognition and praise for the jobs well done by the employees in the organization. If we talk about the effectiveness of coaching, it will develop strength and potentials of the subordinates and help them to overcome their weakness if done in a proper manner. Coachings also are said to be that they require a lot of time, but when if this time is well invested, it will save the time and money of the organization and will prevent the cost which is usually on the mistakes which are done by the subordinates. So thus in totality we can conclude that in the longer run, when you say, coaching is very beneficial for the superior, the subordinates, and for the enterprise. So with this, we conclude what are the different on-the-job training methods. In the next module, we will be continuing.
Okay, so that was a very small video related to training methods. This is a video which is divided into two parts. I've showed you only the first part because we don't have lot of time. The time which is assigned to me is of 1 hour from 6:30 to 7:30. So I've shared two concepts with you today. First is related to performance appraisal, and the second is related to one of the types of training methods, that is your on the job training method. Both these methods, if I say which is very effective or which is very important in the organization, both on the job and off the job, both the methods are very very important and effective. Only difference lies between one fact, that when I say it is on the job, so that means people are working, employees are working in the organization. They are not leaving the organization and going for certain training programs. Rather, along with the work what is given to them in a regular basis, with that, training program also continues. Whereas if I talk about an off the job training program, that is completely opposite of it. It is where, when I say for a period of time, the employees are asked to leave the regular work or assignment task which is given to them, and then they are asked to go and attend a training program for a specific period of time, and then resume their responsibilities or duties. There are at times when management feels that like sending them for any conference, sending them for any workshops, sending them for any kind of a training program which is not possible for the management to arrange in the premises. So they ask them to go and attend a training program, maybe for a for a week period, or maybe for 2 days 3 days of time, learn those skills, and then come back and imply those particular skills in the organization. In off the job training programs, what happens is, in off the job we find that it is the work of which is assigned or given to the employee, that comes to an a pause, or that comes to an end for a specific period of time, for the reason the employee is not working for that period while he or she is attending a training program. Again I say, effectiveness of a training program depends upon the need of the training program, कि need कैसी है.
Atul, please mute your mic.
Sorry,
Atul, please make.
Mohan Sharma,
Atul, please mute your mic.
could you please write that? Anything wherever you have a confusion or any concerns, I request you to please write that in the chat box. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for me to hear from your end and then explain you the concept. As I said, that these are the differences between the on the job and off the job. Similar manner, what I have just showed you for on the job, I have a video on off the job also. Very briefly, I'm telling you what are the off the job methods. We have it in the form of lectures, we have it in the form of conferences, seminars, maybe team discussions, at times also case discussions, role plays. These are all examples of your off the job training programs. So people are asked, the employees are asked to go and attend these training programs and then resume their responsibilities or duties. Dimpy, I hope I have answered your question that which training method is most useful. It depends upon the need. What is the current need of the organization at that particular time? Both are equally important, whether it is on or whether it is off the job. Because it is sometimes when you're not able to arrange the training program at the location where the company is situated or the organization is situated. So you ask the people to, at times go attend a seminar, conference, lecture, maybe a particular workshop, seminar, and then come back and do the like assigned responsibility. Many of the educational institutions, associations, they keep on doing all these kinds of things where they do, like there are many researches which keep on happening. So these seminar conferences which are there, it makes them up to the mark related to that particular new area which is happening in their field. I would be sharing the links of like the concepts related to human resource management of my recorded videos, which I have. I've shared today the two links with you related to training and performance appraisal. Anything, if you want to refer back, you can go back to those links and they are available on YouTube. So you can just refer that, and it is like it can be referred n number of times. If there are no concerns, it is already 7:30, so I would like to end the class here for today. And for tomorrow, that is the last class which is given to me as of now, I would like you to please refer block number 4. Your block number 4 is all about industrial relations. So in that particular block, we will be talking about the grievance redressals. How do we, if there is any grievance in the class tomorrow, I will be talking about this only. That if the employees have any grievances, how those employer-employee relationships are taken care. There, I would be talking about the handling of the grievances. What are the different ways in which the grievances can be prevented, and what are the ways in which the grievances can be resolved in the organization?
Ma'am, what is the criteria to be eligible to write the term and examination?
Uh, Raghu, again, that is something which would be answered by Smriti ma'am. I'm just an academic counselor related to this subject. So any of your concerns related to it, I request you to please mail it to Smriti ma'am. She is the right person to answer those questions.
Ma'am, I have a question here.
Akhil, please write that in the chat box.
Sure.
I request all of you to please write that in the chat box. Tanmay, you have asked me, is promotion a part of job rotation? No, job rotation is not usually done on the horizontal basis. I have explained you in the previous lecture also what is horizontal and what is vertical movement. Any movement of the employee at the same level is said to be horizontal, whereas if the movement is upward or downward, we call that as a vertical movement. Promotions are the vertical upward movement of the organizations, in employees in the organization. Whereas if I talk about demotion, that is vertical downward movement in the organization. Job rotation horizontal basis pe hota hai. Similar people, those who are doing the work at the same rank, at the same level, they are usually, rotated. As in that video also, I have said banks are the best example. Why I have said that again? Because if you'll go in the bank, you will find that people keep on the employees, they are assigned the same task, same job, and they keep like all the other activities in the bank. You will find them that people are doing that for a certain period of time. जैसे कैशियर की अगर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, तो आप उसको देखोगे थोड़े टाइम के लिए एक पर्सन जो कैशियर का रोल कर रहा था, अब वो कस्टमर हैंडलिंग कर रहा है, या वो ग्रीवियंसेस देख रहा है बैंक में, या वो कोई और असाइंड फंक्शन देख रहा है बैंक में which is given to him or her. Why is it done? Because it is something where if the employee is absent, I'll tell you what is the benefit of job rotation. अगर हम employees को rotate करते हैं, तो in that case what happens is, कोई भी employee अगर absent होता है, so उसकी absenteeism का impact work पे नहीं आता. You already have certain people in the organization, rather employees in the organization, who have already worked that particular task or who know about that particular task of that employee who's not there present physically. So the work does not comes to an end, but it is that the work continues. That is why the management of the organization, they practice job rotation. Job enrichment, and this is something where I say that when the duties, responsibilities of an employee, you increase that particular responsibility, usko enrich kar diya jata hai. At times with enrichment, you will find that the wages and the salaries are not revised, only it is the job is enriched. Okay, so like suppose I take an example. I'm taking my class in BSS college with the management students. Suppose there is a faculty in the commerce and who also, he or she also takes the classes of human resource management and is on leave. Enrich करना क्या होगा कि मेरी responsibilities बढ़ा दी. So I'm taking my class here also. I'm taking my class in that particular department also. That is commerce department also. So my job has got enriched. Not necessarily that with that enriched duty responsibility which has happened, management would be revising my my salary or my the wages which are given to me. Can we ask an employee to be productive alongside taking off the job training? Is it okay considering the HR rules? See, whether if management has taken a call on sending the employees for the off the job training, so they know that it is going to bring an kind of an effective learning in the organization only, because we very rightly say कि अगर individual grow करेगा तो automatically organization grow करती है. अगर आप एक employee को you are asking him that I am sending you for an off the job training, so he or she would be learning those skills at that particular end, bringing it to the organization, implementing it in the organization, which will make not only him effective, not only him or her productive, but also the organization and the management will also become productive. If I say, Akhil, that you're asking me, is it okay considering the HR rules? At times, it becomes very difficult for an employee that he is off the job also, learning something, acquiring skills also, and you ask him or her to do certain assignments, jobs, or responsibilities. That depends upon, again, I say, nature of the training program. If it is a training program which is very rigorous of 5 days, 7 days, or let's say 14 days training program, where he is not having that breathing space to go back and do the regular work which he or she is otherwise assigned, so it is not possible for him. So management considers those things, that if he or she is going for an off the job training, so for that particular period of time, definitely he or she is not going to able to contribute to the regular assignments which are assigned to him or her. You have asked me what is JIT, job instruction training programs. JIT is basically a kind of on the job training only. That is, we say that while you are performing a task in the organization, you are given instructions. जैसे supposingly I have a person shadowing, उसका एक example होता है. I'm just taking an example which came to my mind. Shadowing का मतलब क्या होता है कि अगर कोई person he or she is there working at a certain rank, and you want a person to take up his or her responsibility, so you make him the shadow of that particular person. So while he or she is doing his work, he is making that employee also to learn that particular skill. JIT is basically while a person or an employee is doing a task in the organization, he is given instruction along with that particular task. So as I said, many times it happens, जब आप कोई चीज on that particular moment, you do that, you learn that along with the work what you are doing, it becomes more effective. Classroom teachings, classroom learnings, seminars, lectures, conferences is something where more of theoretical kind of trainings are given. On the contrary, when I talk about an on the job, or if I say JIT kind of training, this is where more of practical kind of learning happens, because the instructions are given to the employee while the training is imparted. So any concerns, any questions, any queries which the employee has at that particular moment itself, that gets resolved. For tomorrow, I think I have answered almost all the questions. For tomorrow, we will be talking about Tanmay, tomorrow when I will be talking about the different types of grievances which can be handled, or rather the ways in which the grievances can be managed, I will also be discussing collective bargaining. So you can attend the class for tomorrow and we will be talking about it. Shruti, your question I'll be answering tomorrow. Don't worry. Related to socialization and mobility. Okay, Shruti?
I would also love to listen tomorrow your grievance related presentation. It's useful
Sure,
for
ma'am.
me also, I think.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So thank you very much, Rasmeet.
Yes, thank you so
And
much,
thank
ma'am.
you all the learners for being patient and very interactive. And we are going to have all the counseling on the regular basis. I hope you all have received the timetable for this, and I will be preparing next schedule also very soon. I'll send that. So good night from my side also.
Thank you so much, my dear learners. for being so patient, for your listening. If you have any concerns, please read your notes which are assigned, which are given to you, so that the class becomes more, interactive while we will be discussing about a particular topic. So for tomorrow, as I've just shared that what we are going to discuss, read that and come to the class so your concerns can be answered. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
हेलो एवरीवन, मैं व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप क्रिएट किया हूँ, प्लीज़ ज्वाइन कर लो उसको.
Thank you, ma'am.
I request all of you, Seven, Ajit, Milind, Amit, Vasu, Arun, Jacob, please leave the meeting.
Ma'am, can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
Is there any change in assignment submitting dates?
So I'll let you know. Even I was on leave today, so I'm not aware.
Okay. Actually, I have
But you
got,
can check it. You can check it on ignu.ac.in.
but there is no notice or circular on that website, and even not in
Okay.
on
Okay.
LMS.
Tomorrow. I think you have already sent email to me.
Not right now, but if you want, I can send it to you.
Someone has already sent this email,
Ma'am,
and I'll
hello,
ask the concern tomorrow.
All right, ma'am. Thank you so much.
hello.
Please leave the meeting because I'm not able to stop the recording from my phone. It's on my laptop. So after leaving all of you, then only I'll be able to leave.
Okay, sure, ma'am. But, ma'am, actually, now I have already sent a mail regarding this. But
I know,
and
yes.
yeah, and even today I have checked the LMS portal. But as of like 5:30 p.m., the date was not extended. So should I send the
No,
mail
I am
again?
asking you to check on the ignu.ac.in, not on the LMS portal.
Okay. Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, fine.
ignu.ac.in.
Yeah, even I have checked that, but that was like in the morning, but there was no extensions allowed.
But okay, then I'll send. I'll ask the concern professor tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, fine. Or do you want me to mail again?
No, no, I have full. My inbox is already full. Don't send me more.
Okay,
I know.
okay,
I know
okay,
the
ma'am.
issue.
Okay. Yeah, ma'am. Sure, sure. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, please
Yeah,
leave. All of you, please leave the meeting so that I can also
yeah.
leave.
Okay, ma'am. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Okay. Good night. चलो पापा मम्मी नहीं है क्या